Do you have any idea what's going on?
I was just thinking about how I need to thank you for always being a drink man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
I mean, you handle all the drinks. So many drinks. I didn't even know drinks could be such a thing.
Oh, I mean, it's not that many drinks.
There's iced tea.
Iced tea, shilajit, and a smoothie. I make all three of those things every morning.
It's a lot of drinks.
The smoothie's for later. But the shilajit on an empty stomach, and the iced tea's for after breakfast.
So we just found out about shilajit. What? Did we talk about this already?
No, I've never talked about shilajit on here because I was hoping that the company we get ours from would sponsor this podcast, and I was holding out on them until so. But I don't have to mention the company. I can just say, I think shilajit really helps. I don't know.
I'm still kind of confused what it is. It's like
It's mountain sludge.
sludge from the mountains.
Yeah, it's like if dirt is weed, shilajit is live resin. Like it's like a concentrate. It's like a wax concentrate. It's like this thick tar, and you really, right now they say you can only really get it in the Himalayas. So the reason I even know about it is because this guy reached out to us and was like, "Do you want to make a little film about me and my team going to collect some shilajit over in Russia and up in the Himalayas?" I said, "Hell yeah, that sounds good." I said, "Well, what is this stuff?" And he's like, "Let me send you some." And I've just been taking it every day since. So
I feel like when we first started taking it, I was like, I don't know if there's always like a placebo or honeymoon effect, but I was like, ooh-wee. You know, it just felt like adjusting to like, all right, something's happening here. It felt like maybe some
going through changes.
more things were online, you know, and we've heard other people like supposedly it increases energy, and so we believe in it.
I think it has the ability to like kind of instantly wake your system up, because I think it's like our bodies are probably really starved for these minerals, because that's all it is. It's just like a concentrate of like everything that is exposed. It's like all earth just like falling down into a mountain, and it collects this sludge, and it's just a concentration of minerals and like fulvic acid and iron, and like
Stuff
women take it and they're like, I'm not anemic anymore. You know, and that's probably why you feel good immediately when you have it, because your body needs that iron. And we probably all are at a severe mineral deficiency just because our food is so clean.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the way I think of it. I'm like, I need my dirt. I need to drink a cup of mud every morning to get my body back online.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do it.
Hopefully it's good.
It is. No, my body knows. Like that's the whole thing. Like I've made my temple so sensitive that anything that's off the mark is out the door.
I use you a lot because I feel like you're a walking kinesthesiologist. You don't even really understand what it is, but like every once in a while I'll be like, Sean, is this good for me? And I'll make you like in the grocery store, like push my arm down.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes it doesn't even come to that. Like whatever, like it's almost like without me thinking about it. If you could get an answer out of me without me thinking about it, it's actually usually in line with whatever the muscle test would do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know. We
just
know.
gotta trust and tap into that deep wisdom.
Definitely.
That knowing.
Yeah. That silly shit.
That
silly shit.
I call it silly shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I make that. Well, you make us a beautiful breakfast every morning while I tinker around with vitamin D, vitamin B, acid, mushrooms. Literally every morning I'm like over there with like concoctions, putting stuff down, getting it ready for you and my family and everything. It's yeah, I'm the master of liquids in this house. I really am.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I like to, if I'm going to think about the solids, maybe you can leave the liquids to you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's too much for one person.
Every family should split duties up. One person is in charge of solids, one person's in charge of liquids at the very least. And then if you're lucky enough to maybe be in a throuple, somebody can be in charge of gases, which I've been, I have been
What
the
does
gas
that
master.
even mean?
Well, like when we were with Carrie during the quarantine, I was like, I'll acquire the nitrous.
The gases.
I'll be the master of gases, and that could be smokes too.
Yeah, the aerosols.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's me. But I love it. Like right before I was like about to hit record on the thing, and I was like, "You ready to do this?" Because like we've said, we never talk about what we're going to talk about or anything. We don't make any plan or anything. And you're like, "I have no idea what's going on," and that's cool. At least you can admit it, and it inspires confidence for some reason in me.
You don't have to tell everybody.
No, it's okay.
I can pretend like I know something.
No, I think it's actually much nicer and more refreshing. Yeah, to do it this way. I have no idea what's going on. Well, who the hell? Who does? Who could?
Yeah.
Yeah. But here we are.
Here we are again.
Mm-hmm.
Back at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were just up in Maine for a week, or not even a week. We were up in Maine for a few days. We've been. I think we're now over the hump of the party. We're out of
The
July.
party's over.
No, party's over.
You keep saying like, "Hey, should we like party this week? What about this person? What about this person?" I'm like, "Sean, the party is over."
I know. You're shutting it down. We're in the edit now. We're in the editing phase of our film Wild Magic, which is very fun. But of course, I want to keep the party going because,
You're such a sucker for the party. It's unbelievable.
I know. It really is kind of.
I'm like, you wouldn't even enjoy that party, but just the idea of it being a party, you're like, what about this party? And I'm like, no, this party is over.
Yeah, it really is. We might have to have our friend Zoe on the podcast. She just turned 40 and had the most epic party ever, and yeah. That could be
her
a good...
party is over, too.
Literally, that's what I was just thinking.
Well, no, her episode will be called The Party is Over.
That's what I literally just thought of. It.
Shit, now we can't use that as for this episode.
Oh, no, it's okay. We'll come up with something else for this one. Yeah. Something will come out of us.
Something will come out.
Yeah, but, I mean, 40, she just turned 40, so, 40 years old is kind of... It's tempting to kind of be like, party's over energy. Like, let me get my shit together. Okay, I gotta figure this out. Because you try to do that at 30, but you don't know anything yet. You're pre-Saturn return still. So it's much cooler, I think, when people are like, all right, I'm turning 40. Who do I want to be? What am I all about?
Or, like, what's a sustainable party?
Absolutely.
That's what I think of 40s as. Is like, all right, in your 20s, it's like no sustainability.
Yeah.
30s, it's like, let's perfect the party.
Mm-hmm.
40s is like, maybe the party should be in service to someone else.
Well,
it can still be a party,
yeah.
but maybe there should be a friend, family member, community that I'm serving this party to.
A little baby.
Yeah, for some people, sure.
Yeah. I mean, the party don't stop, you do. That's what the Juggalos taught us.
Well, I think I would counter that with, an Alan Watts kind of like, you think of work as play. I mean, that's not the quote, but, when you think of, like, it should be play, we forget that, like, we treat work like it's work when work is play.
It really is.
So it's just, how do you enjoy? I mean, you got to be able to enjoy other things besides the party.
Yeah. I can get used to that. You know me.
Yeah.
Well, it's really, you don't even know me. You know everyone. You know yourself. Like, people are disturbingly adaptive.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that?
I think about it all the time.
How quickly we just get used to the new reality, and it's just like, this is how it is now. This is, okay, fine.
Well, that's what I've always told you about me. I'm like, I'm adaptable. I'll just get used to whatever it is.
That's everyone.
Yeah, it is everyone.
I mean, think about it. We just were out in Nelson
I'm only
Ledges.
in myself, though.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But, like, we're out at Nelson Ledges, and we're doing space camp, and it's like, you arrive, and you're, like, setting up this camp, and you're, like, kind of, like, at odds with nature a little bit. You're like, oh, I'm going to fucking figure out how to survive out here. And then, like, within a day of it, you're like...
This is life.
This is life now. I shit in a porta potty. I fucking don't take showers. I swim in the thing.
It used to take me a long time. Like, I used to go to summer camp, and I'd always be like the girl that was crying for a week, missing. But then once I was there, it took a while to adapt. But once I did, I was like, I don't even want to go home now. Yeah.
Well, when you're a kid, maybe you're a little less adaptable in a way. You cling to the patterns that which aren't very many. Mm-hmm. And as you get older and life throws some shit at you, you realize, like, oh, that's the name of the game. That's the game within the game, is figuring out how to accelerate your adaptation.
Yeah.
But
The game that moves as you play.
yes, yeah. But it's I mean, it has its positives and its negatives. Like I think about like how people that hang out with assholes usually are assholes. You know, like you quickly adapt to your environment, whether or not it's poisonous or whether or not it's like serving your soul. You quickly will adapt to those friends, that environment, those conversations, whatever it may be.
So you're like pro cutting out toxic people, like as a thing.
Pro being very aware of what you might be getting used to. I think the prime example is you could see it a lot in relationships. It's like someone gets out of a relationship and then they seek another relationship that is like maybe stands in opposition to what the previous one was all about. And they get used to it very quickly, even though maybe it's not serving them.
Yeah. I'm so stubborn that I like this idea that I understand the like toxic relationships talking. It feels like a throwing the baby out with the bathwater kind of energy. And maybe I've just been like really blessed in my life to be around genuinely more positive people.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like, I'm stubborn. I'm like, if they're toxic, I'm toxic. We're all here together. Like we are all here together.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get embarrassed, like, oh, I shouldn't have put that out there or this or that. And I'm like, oh, I'm just a little piece of this giant puzzle and y'all are all a piece of it too. So we're here together creating this muck of whatever we're like looking at, you know?
Yeah, we're all scum at the end of the day. But it's disturbing when you think about it, because like we've gotten so used to being poisoned from every fucking angle. In this country, we've gotten so used to like our military industrial complex.
You're the dick if you point it out.
I know.
I'm literally the dick because I want to be like, I want to go to the gas station and be like, poison, 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 poison. But then you're like, then you're judgmental, and then you're other people's habits, and I'm not, it's like I'm like I gotta just mind my own business.
There's a balance, You don't want to be a drag. You don't want to harsh the mellow.
Yeah, definitely.
But if we've normalized like the mellow being like, oh, we're all just slowly getting poisoned and killed, like that is a mellow you want to harsh for sure. That's mutilated bliss, like that's like, I think that there's a happy medium somewhere between mutilated bliss where you're just like sitting there like tuning everything out, escaping, tuning out, and the opposite extreme where you're like, that's poison, everything's poison now, but I want Chicken Little, I want to warn everyone that the sky is falling down. There's somewhere in the middle that resides the Church of Chill.
Well, yeah, because you're like, Cass, you gotta chill, because like I have this walk I go on that I love, or like a run, and then I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, but there's like a Verizon tower in the middle of my walk, and I'm like,
so I did some investigating. I'm like, what did you do? And you're like, I walked up to that tower. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, it's Verizon. There's like a 5G tower up there.
I'm like, I don't even know if we're supposed to be scared of that, but
it's there. It's like, what can you do?
Well, when I was a kid, I had this sticker on my door that was, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And now that I'm older and I see where outrage gets people and where it has gotten myself, I'm like, shit. It makes you sick.
Yeah.
In a way,
Well,
it just like repulses everyone to you where you can't even move any needle forward. Mm-hmm. And then you just become like the devil you want to conquer. Right. Sometimes. I don't know. Yeah. I don't freaking know.
Well, outrage is part of the poison that's being forced down our gullets every day. And to me, at least since 2016, it's felt like a revolutionary act to not be outraged, to instead be laughing. Mm-hmm. And say, okay, this is what the end of an empire feels like. Mm-hmm. Getting sold a lot of bullshit, getting poisoned from every angle, just completely unfettered capitalism, unfucked with, just do whatever you want to the masses. It doesn't matter. We'll approve.
Yeah, no, I mean, our friend Laura was reading to us the other day. She's like, there's a chemical that they realized was cancerous in 1995 that they spray over all the broccoli and all the kale and all the everything. And it's like EPA is trying to immediately pull this chemical or pesticide or whatever it is. And it's been banned in Europe since like 95 or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, we knew about it. It's been happening, but God forbid that a company in California lose money, you know? God
well, they're the
forbid.
ones with the freedom is the companies.
Oh, how about Arrowhead, that water bottle company? Or
what about them?
They had a lease for land where they were, 124 million gallons of water pulling out of the land in California. They were spending, do you know how much it was costing them?
How much?
$2,500 a year.
Wow. To drain all this water and then sell it to us in plastic.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then finally the California Park Service is like, we are not renewing your lease. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. California's going through a drought and we're just like, giving companies I don't know.
Well, this is what I'm saying. How quickly we'll just normalize and adapt and move on. And kind of, okay, well, this is our new reality. And when it's just slowly getting skewed towards enslavement and the haves and have-nots, and it's kind of a disturbing thing to bear witness to. But you have to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, no one likes you saying it, but we can say it here. Who cares?
I don't care.
We are not pro-Trump. Let's not get confused. But we need to be able to realize that when people are singing, this is what democracy looks like at a Kamala Harris rally after no one voted for her.
It's fucking insane.
The insanity has reached a new peak.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. So we're just...
the insanity has reached a new peak. I could have told you that no matter who the nominee was, that this election's going to come down to who is cheering on the various genocides we're funding more.
You don't even have a choice out of it.
No,
there's literally
no
choice out of it.
Yeah, no.
There's no hey, I don't want to send I don't want to work to have my tax dollars then go to giving people weapons to kill people. There's no, you can't even.
Yeah. Well, I think that the way that this is, it affects us is it makes people apathetic and it makes them numb. And, we have all these technological advancements that are right on the cusp of changing things beyond recognition forever. Mm-hmm. And I think
FUBAR.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This shit's going to be fucked up beyond all recognition. So it's we kind of can see this light at the end of the tunnel that is a freight train of technological advancements that's going to put us in a bind as humans where we're kind of not the number one thing anymore, that we've created something much smarter than us that's going to rule the show, and maybe has been all along.
Yeah.
But I do think that we're getting numb to everything, death, destruction, everything that comes around it. We become numb to that, and
I don't. Well, go finish your story.
I don't really know. It's kind of disturbing.
But I think we're all collectively waking up to our sacred duties and trying to realize, okay, getting closer with our friends, getting closer with our family, making our work about something that serves a greater good. Mm-hmm. So we can only really, and I spent a lot of time feeling like I'm a shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how am I doing that? And then I think for a second, I'm like, oh, I'm making a film that is intended to wake people up to their sacred potential and pull them away from the consumerist hellscape that we live in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there is a way in which I can acknowledge that I'm trying to do my part,
Yeah, you are doing your part.
And it just feels like because my part isn't on the front lines on that way or this way, it's I'm on the front lines with what I'm good at, which is I make documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of...
It's we know what to do.
Yeah. I judge myself because I'm not doing what someone else is doing. And I'm like, but I'm not them. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing in my lane. It's okay to stick to your lane, but you should look at your lane and say, hey, am I leading to more death and destruction, or am I leading to love, connection, and positivity?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not, I don't know, maybe that's where we all take a look, because someone's going to have to divest from working for the military-industrial complex. We just one person at a time, we're get out of there.
all at once would be even better. That would send the stock prices plummeting.
Yeah.
That's how you compromise a motherfucker. Well, this must be a kind of a recent revelation for you, because I feel like so many times over the years, I hear you beat yourself up and us up, like, we don't do anything. We're not in the trenches fighting the fight. And I'm like, what do you think we're doing? I mean, like, the artists are on the are on the front lines in a sense of like in the more philosophical, like, cultural sense. Like, we're leading the way. We're going to make a film, and we have made films that show that people are more connected than we think. But
No,
I've been telling you this for years.
I know.
I'm like, that's
I'm
important.
sorry.
That's important work.
I'm sorry, but I'm just like starting to. I take this moment where I'm realizing that beating myself up or anyone beating themselves up doesn't really move anything forward. We need positive forward momentum,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm recognizing the power of that rather than like regret and looking back and realizing like, hey, we all got it. We're in this together. We got to move forward. Acknowledge the places that we're moving forward positively. Let go of the places that are not, and that's all.
Divest, reinvest. I mean, and that's the stuff, like the little wake up calls that you can send into your life.
Yeah, that you have everything you need right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anything. You're safe. You're complete. You're loved. And you don't need to buy shit
That's true.
to feel that way.
Yeah.
But I did get this new t-shirt, so I am guilty as charged.
That was pretty sick.
It says, what does it say?
Walk gently in wild places.
Yeah. I did, whatever.
That's what we did this summer.
I mean, that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for buying new t-shirts. I'm a walking contradiction.
You're a sucker for like Fern Gully energy, Rainforest Cafe. Like you're definitely a child of the Rainforest Cafe generation.
I only went a couple times.
But still, like,
yeah, no, it was epic when you went. You're like, oh my God, there's mist.
I've never been in there. There's mist. Now you'd be like, that's poison, by the way.
By the way, that's poison. No, I just want to be chill. I don't want to be telling things, saying, I don't want to be a poison person.
Well, but that's why making art is so much more fun for us than like being like, hey, everything's poison, people. Like,
well, I am that person.
Yeah,
like
you can do both. You can occupy both lanes. Hopefully, our artistic works are what we're remembered for, because I think that those carry the light way further into the future than being like, hey, this product sucks. This one,
Yeah, no, our friend Natalie the other day was like, linen's a high vibration fabric. And then your mom was like going through her clothes and she had a bunch of like linen. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm now dressing for the most part like a Latter-day Saint person.
Yeah, kind of.
Which is nice. Like these long linen skirts and linen shirts and stuff.
Yeah. You're dressing like how a person your age that had 4 kids back in 1992 would dress, which was my mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. You're wearing her bathrobe. You're wearing like all her old stuff. It's crazy to me. It's a little trippy.
Yeah, because as soon as you think, Natalie said that, now I got to go buy some linen.
You're like, no, we have tons
Wait,
of
I'm like,
stuff around.
There it is. There's the linen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny though.
I mean, I think that the same way you're like now your consciousness has expanded to encompass what the vibration of fabrics is. Like you can apply that to a lot of other things, like because everything is vibrating in one way or another, and is going to pull you in one way or another. So, and especially people.
Yeah, back to the people. The people.
Yeah. The people are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's high vibration people. And there's people that have let their vibration kind of get lowered by shitty stories that they're telling themselves. And really loud and shitty media narratives that I don't even think you realize how intrusive they are. But they're all just like little memes and thought forms that are just kind of like swirling around the universe. And I've talked about this before. They need attention to grow. Don't give them a home. Why would you give a home? Like, I don't give a home to Donald Trump.
He gets no home here.
He has no home here. Like, my parents can't understand it. I'm like,
I'm like,
something
that
will come on.
fool, that
I'm like,
fucking
oh wow,
asshole.
I haven't heard this guy's speaking voice in 3 years. Oh, how is that possible? What are you tuning out? Sean, you should know what's going. Like, no, I don't give it a home.
Know that
that's my way of hating on him much more than you, who sit here screaming and yelling about
giving
him
him attention. I'm like,
don't give him attention.
He's a scumbag who doesn't pay people and has just been a total just antithesis of everything that you want the world to be about.
Yeah, exactly. And
let him fry.
Yeah. Kamala Harris kept people behind bars longer than their sentences so they could fight fires in California for free or cheap. Like she's disgusting.
You're just meaning to say that they're all. I think when they're
hear
reptilian.
You say that,
I think that when they hear that you say that, they can only hear you saying, "Well, then you like Trump," because it's a black or white either.
No,
or.
It's not like that. You're talking about partisan hacks. They don't listen to us. If partisan hacks who think that way, if you're saying something against her, then you're for him.
That's what your parents hear, though. That's what I'm saying.
They're partisan hacks. They're in their 70s. They're fucking boomers. What the fuck? What the hell do they know? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying most people our age and younger have much more of a nuanced view of things. They're much more media savvy, and they're not going to get the wool pulled over their eyes when we're looking at multiple genocides happening on multiple fronts throughout the world that we're funding, and neither candidate is talking about ending those. Mm-hmm. They're talking about ramping them up. So
we got to test out new weapons.
Yeah. And I don't know.
We got to make that money for people.
Absolutely.
Not us, them.
Yeah. We need to compromise future generations so they don't, gain any dignity.
We're also compromising our humanity in the process.
Yeah. And what we don't want is people adapting to this. And look, we did. There used to be a really robust anti-war movement in this country in the 60s and 70s, and it's just more wars than ever with now no anti-war movement. Back then, there was an anti-war movement. We were fighting one war. We were fighting one unjust war.
Being in the anti-war movement right now makes you racist.
And anti-Semitic.
Which is
and sexist. Now that'll be part of it.
Yeah, you're against Kamala Harris.
Yeah, what are you going to question her?
Yeah, exactly.
No, the Democrats are beyond reproach. That's not a cult. That's democracy. This is what democracy looks like. We have someone anointed and appointed, and we clap like seals. Yes, yay, we like this one. Okay, cool, take your orders. But I personally can't align with that. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to try to take this into like political action or anything like that. It's just simple for me. It's just like, you're for wars continuing. I'm against you. I'm gonna go cast a vote for that. You don't have to vote.
I'm trying to like vision our way out of it. There's such like a stronghold of like the military arm of our world, not just our government, our corporations, and that it's like a stronghold that I'm like, the anti-war candidates or movements, like they'll just kill them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, how do we envision a future outside of this?
Yeah, like Fred Hampton was just sleeping, and they came in and just fucking killed him
in
his sleep.
Yeah.
21-year-old revolutionary, because he was speaking up against wars. He was speaking up against the class system, and he had a very powerful voice. And they saw another Martin Luther King, Malcolm X in the making, and they said, no. And that's what they do, and they've done it to countless others. And look what's happening to whistleblowers left and right.
Yeah. I had to break my mom's brain the other day by saying Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent.
Yeah, no, it didn't even only break your mom's brain either. Our friend was like a little disturbed by that too.
I'm disturbed by it. It's disturbing.
Yeah.
You have a feminist icon who you think is like making headway for the feminist movement, but at the cost of the class movement.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like very specific. Keep it about gender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And where's that gotten us?
Women as ruthless as men are.
Yeah.
Women as ruthless as men are.
Yes, exactly. Women with with as much blood on their hands as men have.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Great. You guys wanted a seat at this table. That was what the big fight was for generations. To have a seat at this table, not flipping the fucking table over like Jesus did.
The fight wasn't just to have a seat at that table. It's
ultimately what it's come down to.
But what has come, yeah.
That's ultimately, I mean, it doesn't matter what the goal was. You know, like, hey, Gloria Steinem might have thought she wasn't a bad actor. She was, and the CIA knew that all along. And people like that only get to those levels if they play ball. They only get to those levels of, oh, cultural icon who, you know, isn't a musician or a filmmaker or an artist. You know, this is a voice in our culture. They only rise to those positions because they're playing ball with like the fucking worst, most nefarious people ever. And yeah, it's really disturbing because like for a lot of people, and I'm sure my mom would be completely heartbroken if you told her that Gloria Steinem was a CIA plant. But isn't it just such the perfect symbol of like where identity politics gets us? You know, isn't it just like the perfect symbol of what America does to movements?
It's
I lost you. I
no,
can see. I can tell when in your eyes when you're just like, sorry, I'm not paying attention
I
anymore.
was paying attention.
Okay.
I was just thinking about. I'm just processing.
Yeah, no,
You know, I gotta process myself.
me too. I'm gonna process one right now.
Yeah. Well, it's like they're like you can do good, but only in this department.
Yeah, our country is right now actively giving tax breaks to companies that will block aid to Gaza. So there's so many ways that people end up fighting the rich man's war and not even realizing it. There's so many ways that people get fucking tricked into this generation after generation. And I feel like if we had a more the buck stops here type of attitude, which one of these generations will, and I think it's happening, we could end this. It could stop, but it's not going to happen when we so easily allow them to manufacture our consent for the worst shit known to man. Ever. Excuse me.
Well, I think that's where going local is like of the utmost importance and paramount, and
Going loco.
going loco.
Yeah, keep it loco.
Go loco.
Yeah. Local.
Loco.
Yeah.
Locomotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this morning I woke up and I was like, we should host a block party.
Hell yeah. You're telling me that I'm too much of a party boy? You're like, let's meet everyone in this motherfucker. No, I think I think that like it goes back to like what we were saying at the beginning, you know, like the going local for me is like it's literally starts as with me as the individual. Like if I'm able to, you know, kind of look at society as a whole from a zoomed out perspective and be like, damn, what have we gotten so used to? What have we adapted to here? God damn, like what have we allowed to become normalized? Well, ask yourself those questions about, you know, the things that aren't in alignment in your life. That's yeah. I think that's how you bring it hyper loco. You know, I right now I'm on like I think day 5 or 6 of not eating sugar.
How are you doing?
Great.
You're going loco?
Why didn't anyone tell me?
I've been trying.
Yeah, I mean,
You went so crazy though. When I told you that sugar wasn't good for you, you threw out everything.
yeah.
That was like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
now.
it creeps back in.
Yeah.
It creeps back in. It's very it's addictive, and like, you know, my body gets used to it. My body gets used to it to the point where it's demanding it. And like I'm subsisting off fucking little sugary things and little treats and like just like falling out of my discipline. Like I could be in my discipline all day and at 11 p.m. I'll fall out. And I'll
It's a witching hour.
It really is.
Well, you get nice and toasted. I will high or whatever.
I get fucking twisted, mate.
You get twisted is the word, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get twisted.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend who was like trying to clean up her act, and she was like, I just gotta do it. I gotta eat clean. I'm like, well, you gotta stop cocaine and alcohol because that just throws everything off the rails.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm like, you can't, there's no eating clean when you're drinking because your body's like trying to, like, you're having to absorb alcohol or cure a hangover, or like, the grease is like, you know, you can't have your discipline when you're throw your system into like please help me. Help.
Oh, God. Yeah. Cocaine and alcohol. Like, yeah. I mean, that's part of its own complete nutritious balanced breakfast in itself for a lot of people. You know, cocaine and alcohol go together like rice and beans, like fucking peanut butter and jelly, and have for as long as we've known about that combo. That's a really tough train to get off.
Gave birth to the yuppies, man. So
Yeah, it really did. It really did. Like,
look where they got us.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think what it does is like neither here nor there energy. You're getting pulled in two different directions. You're getting pulled into.
Or you're
like,
sustaining bad habits. I think of cocaine and alcohol as like, oh, you can drink more, you can go further. You know,
yeah,
you can bounce back from unhealthy habits rather than suffer the consequences.
Yeah. People love drinking that poison so much that they're like, hey, the effects of the poison are making my body want to shut down. Is there anything that I can do to keep taking that poison and stay awake? And yeah, there is. There definitely is. I'm glad I'm not on. My neither here nor there energy is caffeine and weed. Just a little bit of black tea and weed, just to pull you in both.
Yeah,
just a little.
Well, they're just like kind of both like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, so are you not doing like protein bars or anything anymore?
I haven't. We have a protein bar that has
granola
like
bars?
no granola bars. That I think that's part, like, that's me being naughty right now, and it has been for the past couple of years. Is like I eat granola bars, and I don't want to eat those.
You're like no processed foods.
I'm not even being like that. It's like you've always said, like with sugar, it's like once you don't have it for a couple of days, you don't crave it.
Yes, it is like that. Because it's very much you get in a pattern of craving. So the way you break it is like, okay, after dinner you always eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to need something sweet, but you have to start substituting the sweet things for something like dried fruit or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm not even doing that. I'm trying to lock up my eating day after dinner. And it's like, look, you don't have to do this. I'll drink the smoothie. That's when, like, you'll see, like, if we're going to bed at midnight, I'll drink the smoothie at like 9 p.m. And like, that's just a bunch more protein, just so my body's okay till I probably eat breakfast the next day at like 11. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it makes me feel a little bit better. Like I have a little bit more energy not being on the sugar train.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and it's pretty obviously like not good for you.
All you have to do is tell women it ages them, and it's like, all right.
I also feel like there's like little goblins down in my gut that just need to be starved out, you know, like weird little sugar goblins that have probably been there my whole life, and I just need to kind of like starve them out, not give them attention, because that's how I give them attention. They're begging for this shit.
I'm still paying for the vegan ice cream I got like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just totally set me on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Well, you know what helped me was our friend Laura came up to Maine with us. So, and Laura and I are very much cut from the same cloth in a lot of ways. Like, we're both like, we like challenges, we like discipline.
Capricorn rising.
Are we both Capricorn rising? Mm-hmm. Is that why we're like that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That makes sense to me.
I think so.
That makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, I don't know. I just, I was just kind of more in my discipline naturally being around her, I think. And I think one of those things becoming aware of the late night habits. And I feel like Maine is where I go to break habits, because I'm away from like the external stimulation. I think that triggers me into self-medication. So I tried a night where I was just like, this is gonna suck tonight, because I'm gonna really want to. It's just so easy to be like, oh, let me grab a little ice cream, let me grab this cookie to do this. And I had gone crazy for a couple nights, and then I was just like, let me try not to do it tonight. And I got like 2 or 3 days under my belt up there without eating any bullshit.
Well, I think what you're talking about is like wanting to be in control, like truly in control.
Really get behind the control panels.
You really
not just the fake one where you're like, there's still another level of control panels back there that sugar is at the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Well,
no, this one's.
Talk to me when you quit Instagram and Reddit.
Well, yes, we're talking inception layers at this point. But here's the mind blow up. Take out the sugar and you don't care as much about Instagram.
Okay.
I'm not fucking around.
All right.
I have a little bit more control of my sexual urges.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's theories.
Where you take control in one area of your life, it spreads.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Like, it's like, the yang energy starts to like take over and say, okay, I see what we're doing. And like, I don't know, sugar's probably setting off dopamine, right? So if I'm taking sugar out, there's less dopamine.
And it puts little gremlins in your stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's in every store, on every aisle, on every shelf of every aisle, doesn't mean the human body's meant to be consuming the amount of sugar that we are.
It's the same thing for TV. Like, just because there is 24/7 programming on 5,000 channels does not mean that you need to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Just because there is an infinite scroll on here that I could tap into at any time doesn't really mean I need to pay attention to that or, invest any bit of my time into that world. That's the next thing for me. I'll do it by the end of the year. I'll get rid of Instagram. Reddit's really the issue. It's always something. It's
you're still holding on to Facebook. I just anytime I see you on Facebook, I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, when you see me on Facebook, that's just to post our podcast. But then I'm like, who am I posting? Who is on here? Who's it? My fucking Aunt Candy in Florida? Like,
she doesn't care.
See that I put out a podcast? She doesn't care, and God knows I wouldn't want her to.
Yeah.
So it's just like, who is this for? But with Facebook, look, I got to defend myself a little bit, like any addict. I've never had Facebook on my phone.
Okay.
I don't know if that means
look,
anything.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I don't really care what you do.
And I did delete Twitter, and I've never been on it since.
Yeah, that was a big one for you.
Yeah, you could probably go back and pinpoint the episode where I was just like having a conversation like this, and it's just like I was like, yeah, fuck Twitter, and I just deleted it. And I've never thought about it once since.
And it like had such a control of your emotions and stuff.
Oh my god! It was throwing me so out of sorts. It was like I have this like beautiful ship that's just designed to totally be able to go and surf the seas of consequence through life, and I have just a gaping hole in it. That's what it felt like. Is like I just have this gaping hole that I don't even understand, and it's just taking on water, and it's not allowing this fucking ship to really sail the way it's meant. This dreamboat. No, but for real, I'm not even kidding you. And like you recognize it more than I ever would. But like literally in those moments, it's just like, oh, I'm bored. Okay, what? And I'm scrolling through fucking 10,000 opinions.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna trigger something.
Oh yeah.
And if not, why am I getting myself used to that? Why am I desensitizing myself?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like I love people and I love my friends and I love seeing what they're doing and I love cute animals and I love cute babies and I love all the cuteness.
Babes.
Cute babes. Yeah, all the cuteness. And so I'm like, what am I doing? But you find ways to fill it in.
Yeah.
And look, my friend doesn't feel more connected to me because I liked her post once a month. You know what I mean? Like, that's not real connection. I need to figure out how to really connect with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. I think it's also, you gotta be okay with, like, I don't know.
You gotta be okay with being a little bit bored. I think it's part of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really need to break my Reddit habit.
Yeah, me too. It is like the ultimate crusher of any form of boredom. But it's also like
it's so
sexually assaulting our attention span. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like so beautiful and tempting, and you go towards
real.
it. It's like, there.
It's also like
fuck.
Republican and Democrat plants of like content. Like you can feel it. You're like, this is all. But then I get in my favorite thread, and I've said this many times, and I'll keep saying it until I break the freaking habit.
Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole? I get because I'm so. I guess I love gossip or I love drama, but I don't want it in my life, so I like to like look. It's like why. I just need to maybe start reading the way your mom reads like
like a book.
a book.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of fake drama.
A fake drama rather
Yeah.
than me reading about like someone whose husband cheated on them while they're pregnant. I mean, the amount of times I read that, or that I found out my wife cheated on me 10 years ago and I can't look her in the face anymore, and I'm just like, why am I reading all this? I don't even care. It's probably not even real.
Well, we're
AI probably
fascinated.
wrote that.
We're fascinated by we're documentarians, we're podcasters, we're like, I hate this word, but like we're storytellers. Like we're interested in people's stories. We're interested.
That's why I think we're suckers for Kill Tony. Half the time I watch that show, I'm so cringy on like the racism that is just like not even funny. But the thing is, it's a platform where you just know that there's potential for it to be broken.
Yeah.
You know, these tropes.
Yeah.
Like you think you're stuck in a trope, but I'm like, things get old and any comedian can come up and totally flip the script.
Mm-hmm.
And you see like real people. I mean, it's really hard what people are doing trying to be funny for a minute.
And it's very fascinating to see what they do to try to be funny, what they think people will laugh at for 1 minute.
Yeah. And I'm just getting to this place where that half the time I watch it, I'm like, God, I'm embarrassed that I watch this. People are so like mean or rude or condescending in a way that's not funny. I've heard people like, I'm not the person, but I'm like, someone's got to like flip the script on them. Because it's like, Tony can't take a joke. Like you think he can because you can call him gay, but I'm getting like too deep into like, who's the Kill
People
Tony
know it's a
fandom.
very popular show. People know what it is.
But, you know, Hans Kim comes up there and says that white people have thin lips, and Tony and the white panelists are like, we don't have thin lips. What are you talking about? We don't have I'm like, shut up. Like, you guys suck so bad. You are so racist all the time. And then the one time one says anything about white people, I'm like, someone needs to, I'm like waiting for like white people to get eviscerated. They can eviscerate like white women, but I'm like, there's like this dominant white man that runs the show that I'm like, God, there's got to be, I don't have the joke, but I'm like, there's got to be a funny way to like, because anytime I think of the joke, I'm like, God, I sound like such a fucking shitlib, you know?
Yeah.
Like a woke asshole.
Yeah. No, I know. I hear you.
But I'm like, but it is funny.
I think someone needs to go up there and just eviscerate this whole form of comedy in kind of a funny way. It doesn't need to be about someone specific.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's like all these fucking guys who are out there thinking they're so edgy and like, oh, look at us, we can say whatever. You know, we could say the R word. I'm going to say the N word.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to call everything gay. And it's like,
you're so boring.
You are so, for lack of a better word,
dumb.
Gay. You're up there performing in your little words and you need the audience to pay attention to you and everybody's going to laugh because you were the meanest one and it's just like, what you're doing is gay.
Yeah.
Is the thing you're accusing everyone, the reason they need to say that word so much and blast it out there so much is because they are the very epitome of that energy. Yeah. You know, of just like, hey, pay attention to me, take a look, oh, everybody laugh at me now, you know, like, it's just like, y'all are fucking gay. I don't know what else to say. You're going to fucking go do your little fucking stage act, go do tell your little rehearsed 15 minutes of jokes every night. Ugh. But yeah, I love comedy.
I love it.
But somebody needs to get up there and do like a Bill Burr version of like that.
Yeah, there's a certain type of dude that has a certain type of joke that you're just like, when are we gonna graduate past this?
It might never happen because I hate to say it. It's this jokes I was making in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And I've heard my whole life just being around other dudes.
And the reason
it is funny.
And the reason it is funny is because there's women like me that get uptight.
Yes,
and I'm
exactly.
like, my uptightness is what makes this funny.
Yeah.
And literally, so it's like one of these things where I'm like, I can't say anything because it just makes it funnier to you.
Yeah, but truthfully, they're really scraping for the bottom of the barrel if they're calling women like you uptight. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're not uptight. That joke didn't work. Admit that to yourself. Yeah. It's not that the audience...
I can feel myself get uptight sometimes, you know?
Well, in like the woke way of like, oh, I'm totally taking my woke orders right now by being offended by this.
No, yeah, maybe. But maybe also just like... just getting sick of like being racist against like Asian people. I'm like, you're just showing how dumb you are that you can't tell the difference between Japanese and Chinese and Korean and like...
Can you? I'm fucking...
It just shows how stupid. We're just like, but I guess that's what comedy is. It's just about being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even trying to be uptight. I love it. I love watching people from literally all walks of life get a shot at their minute. It's like literally my favorite thing.
Well, and it's just so for people like us who are just genuinely interested in humanity, just to see like the thing, it's like, oh wow, that's the thing you thought would work. That's the thing that probably did work at the bar with your friends. That's the thing that did work in your head on the way to work when you were saying out loud.
Truly, the people who say that are the funniest up there, and it are the people who have gotten the shortest end of the stick
in life.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like people joke that Tony likes like special needs people, but it's like they're literally
they're funny.
Yeah, because they have a predicament that they've come to grips with and they can deal with with levity, and that's like what humor is. It's like coming to grips with your reality with levity.
Yeah. And
our
my whole life I've always heard like black people are funnier than white people, and it's like yes, it's true.
Makes sense.
They're more naturally funny. The fat guy in your group of friends is usually probably the guy who's the funniest. Like there is
whether it's come out of being a defense mechanism or
well, like Tony always says, and like he's doubled down on this so many times. I don't think it's true 100% of the time, but he was like, he is always saying people whose parents are together just aren't as funny as people who grew up in broken homes.
Yeah, because I mean, also people are just talk about comedy being like you trying to please, trying to get love. Having like a bad childhood really can help keep you on that quest for some sort of daddy's love or mom's love.
And I think it might be true for Tony for a certain kind of comedy, but he's looking at one sliver of what makes him laugh and who he thinks are the best. There's tons of ways to be funny, and like to me, it's like kind of a very visceral thing. Like people come out, and like this show has exposed us to a lot of people, so I've put this to the test. You can tell by the way someone looks whether they're going to be funny. There's some people, there was a guy that came out and did a whole set and he didn't say anything. And it was the most laughs I've ever seen. He went out there and was just like, and people were dying. And it's just like, so, like, that's how I feel like, Richard Pryor. You don't even need to see him perform. You could look at a photo of Richard Pryor and be laughing.
Yeah.
There's certain people that just have it. John Candy. You're just like, you're funny. I don't know.
I mean, Richard, we're talking about crazy life stories.
Richard Pryor
has probably the craziest life story.
Yeah.
Growing up in a whorehouse, pretty much.
He grew up in a whorehouse, and holy shit, yeah, his fucking life story, and
Otherwise, you end up with like Judd Apatow. No, I'm sorry. I'm joking. I don't even know what his life story is.
But Judd Apatow's if you're going to just throw any random name out there off the top of your head for like who kind of represents the opposite, Judd Apatow. Yeah, that's a pretty good example. And he was right there on the front lines trying to cancel Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
The people that were there on the front lines trying to cancel Shane were shit-libbed.
The thing is, like, the canceling is just going to lead to more of what you don't want. Like, because it's saying
it's gonna get you.
It makes it so bad that then that's what's like funny, and I'm like, it's just like, oh god.
Yep.
Do we have to hear more of this because then people want to be edgy? Like, I'm kind of like
the people that tried to cancel Shane are directly responsible for him becoming the biggest comedian in the world right now. I literally, like, I wouldn't have known about him. I would have never known about him. He got hired to be on Saturday Night Live. I would have never heard of him. He could have come and gone already and done his tenure on Saturday Night Live. I would have never heard of him. I wouldn't know what that name is. I don't know anyone on Saturday Night Live. Because they fired him and why they fired him, I was like, oh, this is an interesting story. Who is this guy? And next thing you know, I've been addicted to his podcast for 5 years.
I really feel like the comedic scene right now is missing, like, the George Carlin, the someone who's able to really articulately call out this like capitalist hellscape predicament we're in a way that's like funny and like how it's vax or anti-vax, and it's just like how people get off on that. I'm like, y'all are so like, I'm like so hungry.
Yeah.
And that's why right now it's
for someone that's lived it and can speak to it, and that's why we love George Carlin so much.
Yeah.
A fellow Irishman. Like I think that I don't think that there'll never be another George Carlin, but there's I think we're we're lucky because my parents' generation, when you ask my parents, like, did you guys like comedy? They're like, oh yeah, and they did, but they liked George Carlin. That's really all they had.
Yeah.
They didn't have hundreds of comedians to choose from the way we do. So I think that there's a bunch of George Carlins out there. It's just they're never going to be as popular as George Carlin was, just because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Colin Quinn's kind of like that.
Yeah,
I
Colin
think Jim
Quinn's really
Norton
smart.
is kind of like
yeah,
that.
he's
Like
really good.
like these guys that are like these are like elder counsel. I know people don't like it, but like Louis C.K. is one of those guys for sure. Chris Rock.
Louis C.K. is funny, and Louis C.K. talked and showed in his show the heathen of a human he was.
Oh yeah, dastardly deeds, dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
I don't know. I'm like, so.
No, they're trying to cancel him again. A movie just premiered at Tribeca, where it's like a bunch of talking heads. And
he asked if he could jerk off in front of some women, and then some women tried to cancel him, and
I wasn't jerking off.
Instead, he canceled them. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, yeah. They tried to cancel him, and he was like, "Oh,
I think
no,
the worst thing he did is that
self-preservation."
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the ugly thing that happens in business for many reasons is you get blacklisted. And, of course, it sucks to get blacklisted when you're just telling the truth about how some guy tried to jerk off in front of you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've seen it a lot in my business, and I can just assume it's the same in comedy. It's so hard to succeed as a filmmaker, as a comedian, as an artist or whatever, as a musician, that it's much easier to have a victim story as to why things didn't work out for you than to just admit, like, I didn't have the goods. I wasn't on that level. I think.
But also, like, people get blacklisted, and women are like, okay, well, you can't have a part because you didn't fuck who and so.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely a tale of this time.
No, definitely. I think we're talking about two different things, but yeah, I agree with you.
I know you do.
I'm not a Trump supporter. Or whatever. It's kind of hilarious that anyone's ever gotten confused about that in our life.
Our parents get confused. What do you? That's why
insane.
That's
I'm
why
like, I voted for fucking Ralph Nader in 2000. Like, what are you talking about? Do you really think that 25 years later I've somehow morphed into just the fucking worst kind of fucking monopoly capitalist? Like, what the fuck?
Well, and I think where a lot of people get got is thinking that Trump is like some drain the swamper, It's like
not at all.
No, I'm saying people do think that though.
Yeah,
People get got thinking that he's gonna buck the system instead of be a shill for in his most self-interested way for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where he got people is by even saying those things. No one had ever really said that before, and if he had actually done it, it would be a really tremendous thing. It would go over bigly. It would be beautiful. But he didn't do it. But I think where he got people and how he even got people's attention is by calling the system what it is. And but he just got quickly kind of absorbed and commodified by it.
People are so hungry to hear some sort of like anti-war movement that even if he's not truly anti-war and truly
they'll project it onto him.
They'll project it onto him, and that's where I think you and I get upset because we feel like we're Hillary Clinton or whoever, casts aside half the population. I'm like, we should be appealing to Trump supporters, not saying they're deplorable because they are us and they need things that they are working class people, and we should be. Well, this would turn into a class appealing to the classes.
Yes, exactly, and they're not from that class, and they don't have allegiances. Yeah, he's...
People don't really like when we talk about politics, but I don't give a fuck.
You can talk about it without it being about politics, if that makes sense. Kind of, you can kind of talk about it as like a system that's taking place. Like, it'd be one thing if we were sitting here like, did you see who Kamala picked as her VP? Yes, aren't we getting into this? This guy's the best, and here's his record. And it's just like, no, they're all fucking pieces of shit. I guarantee you, no matter who our options are, they took money from AIPAC. I guarantee it. I guarantee they took the most money from AIPAC. That's how they got to those positions. So I can talk about it in kind of a more zoomed out, fuck 'em all type of way. But yeah, I can see why it's tremendously boring for people that don't want to think about that kind of stuff.
No one wants to think about it.
But it's hard. Like for us, it's so a part of our day-to-day life since we've been living up here with my parents. And we live with my parents in cable news. So we have to keep our Merkaba strong. And we need to not let these thoughts and opinions and stories that come from that fucking thing. The
All of a sudden,
corporate
I'm
news
like, I'm raging. I'm like, I'm making breakfast. And I'm like, what the? I'm making dinner.
Can you believe it? Do you believe what they're saying? And it's just like, don't give these things a home.
I'm not really
Don't give it a
raging
home.
about what they're saying. I'm raging at the fact that there's.
It's from a meta level.
I'm very meta about it.
Yeah, and
I'm like, can you believe that the shit that they're feeding all of us?
well, and that's the thing. That's why we get into it with my parents, because they think we're fighting in two different dimensions. We're like shadow boxing each other in two different dimensions. Yeah. And it's like they're talking from the perspective of partisan hacks.
And we're like, this is all propaganda.
If you criticize the Democrats, you're for him. And it's like, what? No, we're talking about a whole different thing. And we end up screaming at each other. And it's like, it gets nowhere because they think they won some sort of fight. And we were like, we weren't even in the same fight. I'm telling you not to pay attention to this. You're telling me which product is better within this fucking disgusting dichotomy that I don't want to have anything to do with, and I never will have anything to do with. It's not good for my soul. I've done this game. I played this game. It's not good for my soul. I am like, I'm too justice oriented to even dip my toe in all that shit. So I try to zoom out and try to talk to them about politics the way I talk to them about nutrition. And just try to come at it from a whole different angle. And I don't know. All I can keep track of is what I'm doing. And I'm not eating sugar. That's my new trip right now.
It's a good one. I support you. Whatever I can do.
Yeah. I think it's bringing some sharpness back.
It's not just the TNA.
The TNA helps. But I mean, like, I've already adapted to that. I'm already used to that.
Yeah.
I've mutated. That's all we're doing. We're just mutating around our surroundings. And, if being a loud, abrasive, fuckhead comedian or politician or friend or coworker or whatever is what our culture is all about right now, you can kind of be a beacon of hope by just being serene and hold your sense of humor and make sure that your sense of humor, and like that's what I see has happened to my parents. That's why I'm like, when I try to talk to your mom or your dad or my parents or our aunts and uncles or whatever, people that are caught up in this, I'm like, this is a system that's designed to extract joy from your life. Why let it? Don't give it a home. Fucking don't get used to this. Do not adapt around this reality, not this one. Because like that is, I feel like, what our soul is compelling us to do is not adapt around this reality. But that's what egos love doing. And that's what super egos love doing. They seek patterns and they seek comfort and they want to dig in and do more of that. And right now, the pattern and the comforts are death, destruction, enslavement, propaganda, all this shit, poison. You don't have to do it. You don't have to. So, it might feel like a riddle to try to figure out how to find your way out of those things, but it's actually probably simpler than you think. Just stop. That's what I did with these sugars. Yeah. We've been talking for a while.
Cool. Let's wrap it up.
The TNA got a hold of you.
Well, I know
baby.
you're gonna make me do another one, so
I'm okay.
No,
I'm not making you do anything. Cool. We'll see you next week.
No, I don't mean it like.
give a
No, I
shit.
don't mean it like that. I just meant like that. We're gonna go into.
We go on and we do another show for people that pay for us to do another show. It is not me.
I didn't mean you were gonna make me. I'm sorry.
Okay, we can do whatever you want.
We're gonna go over to patreon.com/church of
It's
chill.
the best promo ever for our Patreon is Casa getting our arm twisted into doing more content, into doing the same thing we do every week. I'm like, egos seek patterns. We do this pattern every week, and every week you're like, what are we doing again? Why do we do a podcast? I don't get it.
No, I love it. I'm sorry. Please,
Look, I'm fucking around.
I'm
I'm
fucking
joking.
around.
I know you're going to make me do another one. Like, what? I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Tell the people we'll see them next week.
No, I love it. I think this one's gonna need an afterglow.
I have I think there's a couple funny little anecdotes that we could talk about on our afterglow that I think would be inappropriate for this one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of experimenting with GHB and chemsex and this kind of world. So if you want to hear us talk about that stuff potentially,
Another one I'll have to text my mom saying, "Hey,
don't listen to the
this.
afterglow."
Don't.
No, it's pretty much every other episode. It's always the afterglow. It's like, hey, you can listen to the regular episode. Don't listen to the one on Patreon.
Yeah.
So it's cool that she supports us, even though we've censored half the material from it. If you don't support us on there, it really does mean the world to us. It's $2 a month, and you get part 2 of these podcasts.
That I do happily.
She does.
I do happily.
She really does. We're more happy on there,
Yeah.
if you can believe it.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. And then we have a music show that's on there. Me and Joey do a little secret podcast called Boys Club. That's on
Joe Boy.
Yeah, that's on Patreon.
One day we're gonna get Joe Boy on Kill Tony.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna get Joey Lips on Kill Tony.
He doesn't care. He's gonna
as a panelist.
As a panelist, he supersedes it. He's
a penalist.
As a penalist.
Yeah, penile.
He's a penile.
He really is. Yeah, patreon.com/Church of Chill. Tons of extra stuff there. Really hope you join us, and that's how you join the community and find out about our space camps and get on the Discord and mix it up, and like, it's really cool. I see people inviting each other and getting together on their own in little places all over the place. So very rad to feel the Church of Chill really kind of figuring out what it is. Cool. All right. We'll see you on the other side, y'all. Peace, love, and magic.